What's going on, guys? Welcome to Only Football, Week 9 edition. We're going to be going through picks. I'm going to be doing the solo podcast. My name's Kyle. My partner's name is Rick, who is not with me today, but not to worry, I have all of his picks written down. And it is currently Thursday night, and the Eagles-Texans game is 7-7. So I say that because a lot of people predicted this to be a blowout, and Jalen Hurts just had a strip sack. And the Texans have the ball. This isn't a live stream, so I'm not going to be giving a play-by-play, but I think it's a little bit closer than people expected to be in the second quarter. It's tie game, and Texans are just past midfield. So with that said, I picked the Eagles to win this game. I know Rick picked the Eagles too. Not surprising there. You have arguably the best team in the NFL versus arguably the worst team in the NFL. And early in the season, this Texans team was kind of frisky. Like you never knew if they were going to upset you. You knew that Lovie Smith was going to have them well coached and prepared for the game, but this just seems like a little too much to handle. However, and me and Rick talked about this last week. It's hard to be the hunted, and right now the Eagles are the hunted. Everybody is having their Super Bowl when they play the Eagles. So I think the Texans are going to give them their best shot, but I just think this Eagles team's too much. So me and Rick agree with that. We'll go Eagles there. The next game, and this is an interesting game. Not Rick's game of the week. We'll get to that, but I thought it might be this. It's the Chargers at the Falcons. So the Chargers are coming off a bye week. The Falcons have kind of moved into good territory, not really good, but they've moved into good territory. And this is kind of two teams that I think are evenly matched. Chargers, much like the rest of the AFC West, hasn't really lived up to the expectations, but you know they have the firepower with Herbert at any moment to really get it going. They don't have. See, this is my pick, okay? I'm going to pick the Chargers in this game because the Falcons can run the ball. But the problem is, if the Chargers commit all their guys to stop the run, they don't have any threats outside. So they can single coverage. Like the Falcons don't have anybody that's like, hey, if you play, all the men in the box to stop the run, you might leave somebody open. That's not the case here. There's nobody to really be worried about on the field. I mean, you have Kyle Pitts, who just came off a really good fantasy week. But I just think the Chargers are a better football team. And I know it's on the road. And this just might be one of those things where the Falcons have to prove to me every week that they're for real. For whatever reason, I haven't been able to like fully buy into the Falcons. And I'm not sure what it is. I think it might be their schedule. I think a lot of these games have been against pretty good opponents, so I haven't felt comfortable picking them. But I'm going to go with the team that's well rested off a bye week that had an extra week to do some film study. If I'm 50-50 on it, I'll go with the Chargers off the bye. Rick's got the Falcons. All right. This is a funny pick to me. So we got Dolphins at Bears, and Rick's going to go with the Bears at home. Now, seems a little contradicting to everything he has said about the Miami Dolphins really getting into stride after their tune-up game last week. Yeah, man. I thought you were higher on the Dolphins than me, but I guess you're really high on the Bears. I don't really see it. I think the Dolphins should be able to win this game. I know there's been, I think, some kind of wind. I wouldn't want to say advisory, but I heard something along the lines that the weather may not be great conditions, which is the only way I think the Bears could win. Because Miami, um, you know, it's getting closer to that time of the year where playing in cold weather climates like Miami at Green Bay, it is impossible. Um, Being a guy that lived in Miami for 8 years, your body does adapt. And I was born in Wisconsin. Um, your blood thins or whatever the wise tale is, it's true. Not sure how cold it's going to be in Chicago this Sunday, but kind of what we saw week 1 against San Francisco is the only way I think that the Bears could win this game. I do think it'll be a close game, but I don't think it's even going to be 3. I think Dolphins probably win by let's say 9 points. I feel good about that. I'm going to go Dolphins. Rick's going to go Bears. That should be a fun game to see. And here's the thing about the Bears. There's been a lot of moves with the trade deadline, and there's been teams that have gotten better immediately. You know what I'm saying? You had the Ravens, who acquired Roquan Smith. That made them immediately better. Okay. You had the Minnesota Vikings, who got TJ Hawkinson. That blew my mind because not only did they give him to an NFC opponent, but they gave him to someone in division. I mean, how do you make that trade in division? I think that made Minnesota better immediately. The Bears, what they did with moving, I'm drawing a blank, but their defensive lineman to the Eagles and their linebacker to the Ravens, they're not making themselves better right now. They're making themselves better next year. I understand that they got which receiver did they get? I'm drawing a blank. I know that they got a receiver that just came in, and I'm gonna figure out what it is live on the air because it's gonna bother me. I'm gonna just do Bears add wide receiver. Chase Claypool. Okay, so I understand that you got Chase Claypool. I respect that. I think that's a solid pick, but I think defensively you did get weaker when you trade your number 1 tackler, and we've talked about this about how he's the number 1 tackler, but he doesn't jump off the screen when you're watching the game. I understand that, but someone else is going to have to make all these tackles, okay? And you lose a little bit of a pass rush versus a Miami team that just got better. So you could throw them into the category of teams that got better through the trade deadline with Bradley Chubb. So the Dolphins got better. I don't think the Bears did right now. I think if anything, they have just barely broke even. If that's on the high side, right? Because they added Chase Claypool, more weapons for Justin Fields. But this is what I want to see, though. If you're a Bears fan, this is what you want to see out of the owners. You want to see that they've ditched the old blueprint of 1980s run the football, play defense. No, it's a weapons league. If you want to win, you got to get weapons. Let's get some draft picks. Let's bring in Claypool. Let's build a team around Justin Fields. So that tells me that they've seen enough out of Justin Fields that they want to start building around him and use these draft picks to bring in some weapons. I think it's a long-term plan, and I think Miami is indeed in win now mode. I'm going to take the Dolphins on the road. So we disagree on 2 out of the first 3, only agreeing on the Eagles game. Our next game is Panthers at Bengals. And the Panthers have been a little sneaky good with their quarterback, XFL champion. And DJ Moore seems to be getting back involved in that offense. Fantasy people probably love that. Probably would have won last week if DJ Moore hadn't thrown his helmet Stephon Diggs style. But hey, man, it is what it is. It's in the past. Now they go on to play a Bengals team that just, sucked, to be quite frank, on Monday night against the Cleveland Browns. I mean, it was Halloween. I don't know if the Bengals were dressed up as the Browns and the Browns dressed up as the Bears. They swapped uniforms or what, but every time we get 1 week before that, we were all like, oh my gosh. It was such a great performance from Joe Burrow. And then he followed it up with this. So the Bengals are kind of just teeter-totting. You never know what you're going to get with them. Some weeks they show up ready to play, and some weeks they just kind of drop the ball. I'm going to go with the Bengals, and Rick's going with the Bengals too. I don't think that they follow up last week with another performance the same. I do think that they're going to come here ready to play. This is a home game for the Bengals, but I don't think that this is a team that's going to just do exactly what they did last week again. The Panthers, I respect, that they can throw the ball now, but the Bengals got a pretty decent secondary, and they're at home. So I'm going to throw a wet blanket on what Carolina's doing. It's a great story, but I don't think it's enough to get the job done. We agree on Bengals. Packers at Lions. Rick's going Lions. I'm going Packers. Um, the same way that Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears, I think he also owns the Lions statistically. So let me give you an analogy. If you're a younger brother and you have an older brother, while you're playing them, you almost like feel bad if you win. I really think that it's such a deep psychological thing that you just become okay with losing. And if you're Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, you just have to win. Um, that's what I think about this game. I think, maybe on paper, this could be a good matchup. The Lions have found themselves in shootouts with just about everybody they've played. This is not the Jared Goff that was in LA that used to just snap the ball and hand it to Gurley. They're asking him to go out and be a quarterback and throw the ball downfield, and he's doing it. And I think it could get into a shootout. But when push comes to shove, the Packers are supposed to be better than the Lions because they're the big brother, right? You can't punch your dad in the face. You can't beat your older brother, and the Packers are not going to lose to the Lions. Next game is Raiders at Jaguars. Rick's going to go with the Jaguars. Interesting. Jaguars just coming off a loss to the Denver Broncos. I'm going to go with the Raiders here. Um, I'm look, once in a while you lose. Once in a while you get shut out. And New Orleans is a shutout team. They shut out Tom Brady last year. This year they shut out the Raiders. It is what it is. You move on. Did that affect Tom Brady moving forward? No. Is this Raider team Tom Brady? No, they're not. But I think it was earlier it was the Jets Packers game, and I picked the Jets to win, and everyone said I was crazy. Statistically, if you come home from London and you don't have a bye, you don't play very well. You can blame it on the time zones, blame it on the practice, whatever. I'm going to go with the Raiders. They have a lot to prove. Nobody's more eager to get back on the field than a team that got shut out. You got two teams coming off a loss. Two teams are desperate for a win. I'm going to go with the team that didn't take a trip across the pond and a team that is a lot more desperate after being shut out. I got the Raiders winning this game, and Rick's got the Jaguars. Our next game, right underneath it, I actually saw Rick's game of the week, which is really interesting, but we'll get to that. This is a game that if you're 25 to 32, you grew up loving, okay? This is the New England Patriots at home against the Indianapolis Colts. And that was the rival. That was our Chiefs Bills is what it is now, but that was our game growing up. And it's not nearly as hyped as it once was, but it still looks good on paper. It still just is a little nostalgia when you see it. I'm going to go with the Patriots. I think Ramondre Stevenson is the real deal. I think he's going to run that ball. I think the Patriots are kind of finding their identity as a running football team that plays good defense. And I just don't think Indianapolis can do it. No Jonathan Taylor. They're going with the backup quarterback. Can't even remember his name right now. Let me see if I can pull that up really quick. That's how memorable that performance was last week. And I'm not trying to be mean, but hey, it is what it is. Not everybody can just get thrown into the fire and produce. See if he's on here. No. I actually pulled up my fantasy team because we got a guy in our league that started him last week. He's not even on his roster anymore. That's how bad that went. So let me go ahead to the people that you can pick up. Here it is. Sam Ellinger last week had 7.5 fantasy points, right? Threw for 200 yards, had one fumble. Meh. I'm going to go with the Patriots. There's not too much to be happy about if you're an Indianapolis fan. There's just not. Um, Patriots are still, they're going to be a hard team. I don't know if they're going to make a wild card because you got three teams potentially coming out of that division right now, with the Dolphins and the Bills. I don't know. I mean, sometimes there's a team like the NFC West did it for a while with San Francisco, the Rams, and Seattle. I'm not saying it can't be done, and they had Arizona, which was feisty. Um, I'm not saying that three teams can't come out of this division. It's possible, but I think no one really predicted that going into the year. I think most people thought that was going to happen to the AFC West, and I was predicting all four teams would make it into the playoffs. And the way it's looking right now, it's just going to be the Chiefs. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope we can turn it around. But not going to happen this week. I'll use this time to tell you the Broncos are on a bye week. And you can't lose on a bye week. So our next game is Rick's Game of the Week. Bills at Jets. Now, this game is played twice a year. So I don't know if they've played the Jets already, but if they haven't, Rick will get his Game of the Week twice. So I think it's because his wife is a Jets fan. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with that. His wife is a Jets Jets fan, and the Bills are just a better team. And I've said the Jets aren't good. Their record is good. I don't think they've been playing great football. They've been solid on defense, and when you're winning, nobody can talk crap about you. But this game is just a couple more losses from going back to the category of an average football team, and this is going to be another loss. So I think back-to-back losses for the Jets. I think the Bills are going to handle the Jets. My prediction is that this game isn't going to be close. I think, personally, the Bills are going to win by 17 points. And I think that's kind of the kind of win that this team needs. Just to let the world know who the Jets really are and who the Bills really are. Because I think they're so far apart and their record is a lot closer than I think talent-wise they are. Next game is the Vikings at Commanders. We don't talk much about the Commanders because there's not much to talk about. And we're just being honest with you. The Commanders are, the only thing to say is Jeff Bezos and Jay-Z said they might buy him. That's exciting. But besides that, there's not much else to really talk about. I do think this could be a tough game for the Vikings because they tend to play everybody that they play close. It doesn't really, I don't want to say they play down to their competition. More or less, it's the NFL and it's hard to win, but they find ways to win. I'm going to go Vikings, and, they might win anywhere between, I'd say, 7 to 10 points, but no blowout here. Seahawks at Cardinals. Rick's going to go with the Cardinals. No, that should be a really good game. I'm just thinking about it. The Seahawks are flying high right now, coming off a big statement win against the Giants. But the Cardinals are supposed to be better, and they just lost to the Vikings. So the Cardinals at home. I think the Seahawks are actually favored to win this game. I'm going to go with the Cardinals. And Rick went with the Cardinals too. Give me Cardinals. I'm picking Hopkins and Murray to really get going. I think the Seahawks are doing really well. Geno Smith is top 10 in every football category or every quarterback stat right now. Completion percentage, third down, fourth down, rushing yards. He's doing a really great job, but I'm gonna take the Cardinals here. Our next game is Sunday Night Football, and that is my game of the week. That is the Titans and the Chiefs. I'm gonna go with the Titans. Now, this is my upset alert. I think the Titans have beat the Chiefs like 4 out of their last 5 meetings, including the playoffs. Um, and that's because of a guy named Derrick Henry. They run the football. They just, Mike Vrabel, they're disciplined. They tend to arise to the occasion. Oh, Hayes, come here. Sorry, my dog. They tend to arise to the occasion, and this is a game that would really put Tennessee back on the map. So I'm picking the Tennessee Titans to win this game. Now, there's not much to say if you pick the Chiefs. Of course, he did. Patrick Mahomes, that offense, they just added their wide receiver from the Giants, Tony, or something like that. I think it's like Tony. I'm not sure what he is, but I've seen highlights of him. He's just another playmaker. Reminds me of Juju Smith, kind of. And he's playing with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, so he's going to be good. Travis Kelce, Sunday night. Like, everything in me wants to pick the Chiefs, but it's fun to pick an underdog, especially one that could actually get it done. We saw the Chiefs lose to Indianapolis. I think that's their only loss. Or no, they lost to Buffalo. So we've seen a team come in and beat the Chiefs at home. I'm not sure if Tennessee's Buffalo, but a different style of playing than Buffalo. Buffalo really can't run the football. Their leading rusher in yards and touchdown is Josh Allen. Now they got to play a really tough Derrick Henry team, keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. It's going to be a close game, but I think the Titans are going to squeak it out. And then the Ravens at Saints. Rick's got the Saints after not picking them last week. But he did say he's never going to pick the Colts and he's always going to pick the Saints. Not sure how that's going to work out for him. I think he's going to go 1-1 this week because I do think that the Patriots will beat the Colts, but I don't think the Ravens are going to lose. Okay. This Ravens team is good. I know sometimes they have blown leads and they've been disappointing, but Lamar Jackson's really good. I'm predicting this to be a high scoring game. Maybe even get into the 40s, but I'm picking the Ravens to win. They added Roquan Smith. I think their defense got better. So I'm going to go with the Ravens while Rick is going with the Saints. And that is it for all of the games. If you're watching the game tonight, it is the 2-minute warning. The score is 14-7. The Eagles are winning. The halftime show is about to come on, the Mercedes-Benz halftime show, coming up with Carissa and the guys. So if you guys enjoyed this content, go ahead and follow us at Only Football. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitch, on Twitter, Facebook, basically anywhere you listen to your podcast, we're going to be there. If you want to follow us personally, you can follow Rick at AndNowRick. And you can follow me at Football Only, FTBLONLY podcast. And our Twitter accounts are, go ahead and look up there on the top. Yep, they're up there. And if you enjoyed this, just share it, like it, tell people about it. If you agree with our picks, feel free to engage. Let us know what your game of the week is, what your upset is. And we've been keeping track of this. So by the end of the year, whoever has the worst record between me and Rick is going to do something. What is it? Not a dirty, not dirty. Punishment. That's the word he uses. We're going to do a dirty punishment. So I'll let you think about what that means in your head. If you have any suggestions, go ahead and put those in the comments, but make sure it's real dirty. It's like, I didn't say dirty, I just said punishment. But yeah, anyways, besides that, our next episode is going to be on Monday, where we are going to break down all the games that happened, and I will tell you all the reasons Rick was wrong, and I will highlight all the games that I was a genius on and I predicted. Until that, I appreciate you guys for listening, and I hope you have a good weekend. See ya.